Dude, take it over. It's all good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold the mic now. Elliot block, the shorts block is called Age of Innocence, right?
Just step right in front of him.
Yes, exactly what you said. So we are live here on our Amigo live stream on Dayside, first thing in the morning of day 4 programming at the 2017 Twin Cities Film Fest. We're on the presenting sponsor, Florida Junk Red Carpet. I'm your host today, Doug Sidney, and our first guests are leading off the Age of Innocence blocks. It's our shorts blocks running this morning, and they have a scorcher of a film. Darren Wakasa, Peter Jensen, their film is Seppuku.
Yes.
And where do we begin with this? This is a fascinating story, the impetus of which is it's based in Japanese culture and it's bridging cultural lines. We spoke in detail about it off camera. Talk to us about where this story came to be in terms of, you're a 4th generation Japanese American.
Yeah.
Tell us about that influence.
Well, I think so. Seppuku is an experimental horror film that really takes an artistic look at that post-generational effects or haunting of the camp. So I think it's an important thing to really analyze for, our culture as Japanese Americans.
Absolutely, cultural implications and told in a film. Talk to us specifically about what that title means.
So seppuku is ritualistic suicide in the Japanese culture, and traditionally it's reserved for the male samurai of that culture. But for us, and part of being a Japanese American is it's like the collision of the American and the Japanese cultures, right? So there's certain aspects of the Japanese culture that I want to subvert. And so what Peter and I did is we decided to make the lead a woman, because in the Japanese culture, they're not allowed to commit seppuku. But in this story, she is the warrior, she is the samurai. So I think that's the American side of it. It's like, why can't a woman be a samurai? Why couldn't they commit seppuku? So she's committing this kind of spiritual death and rebirth within the film. So that's kind of like the background of the title.
Which is fascinating. Now, Peter, you co-wrote the film together, and our story begins with an athlete who's a female. She's an Olympic athlete, and she undergoes a career-ending injury that sets the whole tone for the story. Comment on that, putting that story element into Seppuku.
Well, Darren and I both, and many things we have in common, and many things we have different. One of the things that we connected on was being former athletes ourselves, and the depression, the pain when you sacrifice so much, and then you're given this news that all of your life that you've built and that you worked for on it. I mean, I think Darren and I really let, in terms of cultural things, I really let Darren take the lead, and I became the questioner. I was the big question mark, the riddler. So he had a story that he needed to get out, and I was not as emotionally attached, especially with the family, so I was able to ask some more objective questions and really try and pull these things out of them. And including, we actually did it, we tried it as a male lead, and it just wasn't, I can tell you, it fell flat on its face. It really was asking to be a woman.
Right, and so it comments on your relationship as filmmakers together, because you were able to take that more filmmaking perspective to serve the story, whereas you were coming at it from the elements of it.
A crazy experience. I think, especially for me, to just absorb the fact that my family were wrongfully imprisoned there just because of their race, and now 4 generations later, I have this luxury as a filmmaker to create a film there. And I think there's a part of it where I'm trying to help the family heal by being on those lands and shooting a film that's trying to bring their story to life.
I would imagine that your life story influence, does that color all of your film work, or is this a departure from other content that you've put together because you wanted to tell and send a message with this particular film?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good question. I think the majority of my my filmmaking stories comes from an aspect of the collision of the Japanese and American culture. And because of my family's past, I think a big part of that has to do with the concentration camp. So this is the first story that actually tackles the camp specifically. But in all the other stories that I do, and we have a strong affinity towards horror and fantasy. it usually relates to some type of haunting of some past trauma.
Sure.
Talk to us about bringing that element into the story, because it sounds like that's in both of your wheelhouse,
Yeah.
and you wanted that to be a part of Seppuku.
Well, that, I mean, yeah, it's, I think of showing the living spirit and showing how it lives within families, and the great thing about film is that we can put the dream and sometimes things that people can't see tangibly, we get to put it out there and physicalize the whole thing and materialize it, so that it's important to both of us to be able to face this stuff, and even for Mari, that was my wife's also from here. She was also a part of the executive producing team for this film, and so we screened last year another film that our company was a part of. Screened here last year, and we had such a wonderful experience.
Yep.
That we when they said, you know, send us your stuff, and we had this, so it was easy.
For our audience to go back and check that film out, tell us the title.
It's called First Girl I Loved, and it's available on iTunes currently.
Yes.
So if you want to see that, it's a coming-of-age love story set in Los Angeles.
Darren and Peter, so great to join us today at the onset of our coming-of-age shorts today, Age of Innocence, here at the 2017 Twin Cities Film Fest Day 4 programming. Their film is leading it off. Thank you so much, you both, for joining us, for being here. It's such a pleasure. We're going to be back on our Mevo live stream here on the Florida Junk sponsored red carpet here at the Twin Cities Film Fest. Thanks for joining us this morning.